Douglas is the actress best known for portraying Ursa in Superman 1 and 2 alongside Christopher Reeve. She's going to be in the Chicagoland area on October 11th and 12th at Emagine Batavia for a special screening of Superman 2 with the proceeds benefiting United Way. Sarah, thank you so much for your time today.
Well, and thank you for telling everybody, because this is what is exciting me. I mean, honestly, I saw Superman 2 1,000 years ago on a screen, which compared with what you've got out there, and imagine how I think was tiny. And to come all these years later and see it on a big screen, to meet all you guys, to hang out, and on the Saturday I'm doing the same. Thank you. So I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. I'm a little bit scared of seeing myself on that big screen though, because I was wearing a wig and I think I might be able to see the joints and everything else, but hey, never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, we're not going to look for that. We want to look for all the special effects. We want to see the cool thing. But this is the thing too, especially about Superman and Superman 2, is that there's been many versions, but like these live on, and these are the movies that people talk about, so much. I mean, I want to go back to like a couple different moments. Like, what do you remember about that time between Superman 1 and Superman 2, like right before that film came out?
You see, what I remember particularly is Superman 1 and Superman 2, as you know, were shot together. We shot an awful lot of Superman 2. Then they came and said, no, you've got to stop and we've got to finish Superman 1. So I had a few months off. Then I came back to complete 2. And the opening of Superman, by the time Superman 1 opened, what I remember most is that a man could fly, because we didn't know. We really didn't know. And so to see it on a screen and to see that it actually worked I remember it being phenomenal. And of course, I had no concept of the effect it was going to have. Certainly the villains, I know we were there, but for seconds in Superman 1. But in fact, that particular special effect where we get squashed in a plate of glass, talk about an extraordinary effect. I mean, today when we have so much, don't we? And there's so many special effects on everything. But that day that we were squashed into a plate of glass, people are still saying to me, "Oh, you're the girl that was think that." Yes, I'm the one that was flattened in them. Thank you very much. And of course, to finally get, I mean, with Superman 1, I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to be presented to the Queen, and I stood next to Christopher, and the whole thing was very, very exciting. I mean, very exciting. Then, of course, when Superman 2 came out, I hadn't realized that we were going to be. I try to tell kids nowadays who have social media that everything that we have, all of the experiences, all of the fans that I have gathered, we've done just by people seeing the movie, or me turning up in some town hall somewhere, or flying to Australia, or going to Tokyo, which I did. I went round the world 1.5 times just about in 9 months, because Warner Brothers opened Superman 2 instead of doing it all at once or in 2 different regions. They opened in Australia in the November, and then a different country and they didn't open 2 until I think it was the summer in America, or was it Superman 1? I can't even remember. But it was quite unusual. But it gave me a chance to go around everywhere and introduce the world to the villains, but to Superman. And here I am, 40 some odd years later. It's fine. It's wonderful. And I'm hoping that at this screening that, families and parents will bring kids along, so that there'll be a new generation. I mean, they are starting to come. Yeah. Although I'm a little concerned that I keep meeting kids that have got the name of Kal-El and different things. And I think, oh, dear, that there are parents, and I think, oh, you see the kids rolling their eyes, and I think, oh, dear, sorry.
Yeah, that was part of the reason why you have that name, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's I'm delighted with it. I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it? And here you are talking to me because presumably you were a Superman fan once upon a time.
I was a Superman fan. We had the VHS tape, which I wore out, and I always watched the villain scenes. I think my favorite one is you with the snake, burning it with your eyes. That's a scene I think I rewound and watched 1.5 million times.
Yeah, and it was a real snake. Somebody said to me, "Did it really bite you?" I said, "Well, no, it didn't really bite, but it did something. It did something." Because you know what? As far as health and safety went, we just did it all. We tried everything until, of course, something might go wrong. It was a much more adventurous time. Not to say that it was safe. Things went wrong on the set. You know, there were accidents, there were unfortunate incidents, and especially hanging on the end of a wire all day long. You know, it was. I did an episode of Supergirl, tiny little part.
Yeah.
She says bitterly, but I mean, and I went off to Vancouver and did it, and I'm talking with the cast, and you know, one of the major players there, she said, oh, somebody said you flew in Superman, you see, and what was it like? And I realized they have no concept of what it was like for us, the ones, you know, the trailblazers. Yeah. I was wearing a little girdle with 2 hooks on. You know, I couldn't wear a big harness because obviously my costume is slit all the way up the side. Yeah. And it's, you know, you could see it. So I wore a tiny little harness. You know, we really knew how to fly. You know, the first time I'm told, the director, Donna says, now you get up onto that windowsill and the 3 of you jump off and then you fly to the end of it. It was the Bond set. And he said, you just fly. And I'm like, oh my God. And they'd built tracks up in the sky, of course, up in the top of the studio with the wires we 3 of us were on. What they hadn't worked out was when we went round a corner, we all swing together, and of course we all got tangled up, you know, and that's another couple of days while they saw, oh my, yeah, come to me if you need to know anything about flying. Yeah, sorry.
There's a new Christopher Reeve documentary coming out as well too, and people are screening it at festivals, but he's kind of been brought back into the forefront, and obviously people who grew up with him, you know, they might have an emotional ties, you know, when they see the film. Share a story about him, especially, you know, either the time of filming or, you know, maybe one of your last interactions with him.
Yeah, well, you know, again, over the years, so many times people have asked me and said, you know, what was he really like? And I had to, and I still, it's not that I stand by it, but this is still the truth. To me, he was like Clark Kent. He was quite serious, quite straight, quite proper. I didn't get to know Christopher Reeve, the man that I saw in that documentary. He was, now I think he was so immersed in Superman, quite rightly so. So when I saw him on the set or walking down the corridor, he was either Superman or he was Clark Kent, right? Yeah. I never socialized with him. The opportunity never arose. Now, I socialized with Gene Hackman. I had a blast with him. We had so much fun with Terry Stamp, with Jack O'Halloran, of course. We all did things together. Christopher was very much focused on his job. So I really missed out on getting to know him. I, of course, was in New York last week for the documentary, for the premiere of it, which was, you know, again, just very, very moving. And the fact that it's for the Christopher Reeve, Dana Reeve Foundation to raise money and awareness was very, very, very moving, because you are, you know, I saw the footage, which everybody will see, you know, I see him flying and yachting and swimming and playing tennis and all of these things. And then suddenly it's gone, just like that. In a heartbeat, and I found it very, very moving. And I mean, it's everybody should try and see it, because it's a real lesson in love and loyalty and you know, I mean, I even got to know Robin Williams terribly well. Was always over at my house because of Christopher. But Christopher went home at night and didn't hang out, and we didn't get together. And when the film finished, he went back to America, and sadly, that was my last contact with him, you know, as such. So it's very difficult. You know, he was very, as I said, he was very much in character. I mean, we had a couple of laughs sitting on there, but most of the time, he was very, very much in character. Unlike Brando, of course, who just couldn't wait to have me sit on his lap. And when I was uncomfortable sitting on his lap, you know, he said, surely you sit on men's laps all the time. And I thought, yeah, but I don't sit on Marlon Brando's lap. Thank you very much. I mean, this is, you know, for me to work with Brando, gosh, I mean, that's, for a young actress, I was, of course, a terrific fan. So Christopher was always there, but I just didn't really get to know the man that he developed and became, because my God, how he dealt with it was extraordinary. His injury and his family, just brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. I do want to talk a little bit about the dates that you're going to be here in Chicago, October 11th and 12th, because there's something fascinating that I just learned about that takes place in Stratford-upon-Avon, where you're from.
Yes,
on the Mott Fair.
The mop fair. Thank
Yeah.
you. You've done your homework. And do you know how difficult it is for me not to be here when the mop fair is on? Yes, the mop fair is has been going for hundreds of years. And it was like there would be fun, there'd be fairs and there'd be, you know, pig roasts, and it was a celebration. But we still have a pig, well, we don't have a pig roast. I think they've stopped doing it. But we always used to have a big roast. And the fair comes into the streets of Stratford.
But what was it like growing up there, especially, you know, where Shakespeare was born? And I'm sure there's a lot of tourists coming in. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
Well, you know, you've got to realize that I actually, I mean, to be here and to be in Stratford as a young actress and to see everybody and to witness everybody. But then, of course, you know, one or two of those people turned up in Superman, which was, you know, very exciting for me. I mean, to know that I'd seen them on the stage and then suddenly I'm the one sitting in the chair with my name on and they're coming and doing a day's work on Superman was just wonderful. One of the great pleasures for me was David Warner, who sadly is no longer with us, but David Warner was our finest Shakespearean actor. And the first time I got to work with him was a few years back in LA, actually in San Francisco. And we were doing I don't even remember what it was, the Lost Storehouse it was called. And there was David Warner and dressed in this pretty ridiculous outfit, as was I. And it was also, I was dressed as a serving wench. But, you know, I couldn't resist. And I said, gosh, because my mother was his physiotherapist. And he would come to our house he was doing Hamlet. And he would be in his doublet and hose because he'd had some awful injury and it needed to be taken care of straight away. So they brought him over to my mother, you know, and I was a young girl wanting to be an actress. So to get to know him, well, to see him then, but then to work with him. And then I did work with him a lot. I did a lot of audios together. Wonderful, wonderful memories of, you know, I mean, to think I actually sat on a bus and was brought home by Paul Robeson. Now, Paul Robeson playing Othello was on my little bus when in the days when kids were safe. I was 5 years old, 4 years old, something like that. And the nursery school would put me on the bus and it would take me to the other end and I would get off. And I sat next to Paul Robeson and we had a nice chat. And he saw me, he was worried about me getting off the bus on my own. So he actually escorted me off the bus. I mean, Paul Robeson. Anyway, sorry, I'm an old theatre buff. So yeah, lots of stories.
You know, I wish we had like 3 hours because I still want to get all my questions. I'm having like the best time chatting with you. But I wanted to say, Christmas Prince trilogy, you know, as well too. Holiday season is coming. Make sure people, you know, go ahead and rewatch those because those are a lot of fun, and I'm sure, you know, being a part of those was amazing.
It was amazing, and we wish that it had gone on. But now our ingenue young actress who is in a wheelchair playing a sort of, I think she was 16 or 17, playing a 12 or 13-year-old, is now 19 or 20 or even 21 and looking like a sexy young thing. And I just think Christmas Prince would just, I think we've run our course, sadly. Sadly.
Wonderful. Well, Sarah, we are so excited for you to come to Chicago October 11th and 12th at Emagine Batavia. Imagine-Entertainment is where you go ahead and get, imagine-entertainment.com is where you go ahead and get those tickets for the screening on Friday night. And there's going to be a meet and greet on Saturday. Enjoy your time here in Chicagoland. And
I really will be greeting and meeting everybody because that's why I'm making this journey. So please don't be afraid to come up, but don't grab me for a selfie because that's terrible. But I will be doing selfies, but just hold my
do it from far away. Yes,
exactly.
And bring your prop snakes. Bring your prop snakes for the photos too.
There you go. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you.